When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport, and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Thank you for getting your pod on. Thank you for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word about the pirate ship. A couple of programming notes that I will throw out to you. You can interact with the show on our live when we do it live, because we'll put it out on YouTube and stuff, and you can comment there. We can put your comments up on the screen. You can call us.
That's how I find you guys when I'm not here. It's like
585-206-8866
on YouTube.
So here's the weird part. It's like I have not concentrated on the YouTube thing at all. I really haven't. And something weird happened today. I went to the Y, and I did 2 classes there today. I did a spin class, and then I did. You ready?
Did you teach it, or did you?
No, I didn't teach it.
You didn't Dwight Schrute it? No.
No. I've never taught a spin class.
Okay.
Never did.
You just teach boxing.
That was the only thing I can teach you. I would say I would be a pretty good beginner boxer training, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I can get you to work up a lather, and I can teach you some moves and some stuff like that.
Like flyweight championship?
No, I can't get you there.
Okay.
You'd have to go. Footwork has always been a problem for me.
Okay.
Honestly, as you get more advanced, you want to be, where you step.
You got to be bobbing and weaving.
Yeah, it's different. But no. So I did the spin class, and then afterwards, I did a meditation class.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So it's like going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah. So you go in. It was really, I loved it. The meditation.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, because they just it's guided meditation. I've never done it. I thought I would try it.
In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose.
No,
think of a cat.
Not like that.
Cat.
Jesus Christ.
Cat.
Don't make fun of it, because it's a way of prayer. I don't make. Well, I do make fun of it. It is, in a way, yes. Because you're coming internally.
I get what you're
to
saying.
you.
So you took the meditation, but you like the meditation
Yes,
class.
but that wasn't the point.
Okay.
So I go downstairs, and Jameson is playing 2-on-2 basketball, and he's looking a little tired. His shot's a little off, and I can tell he's getting frustrated.
He's getting fatigued, Billy.
Yeah, well, he had been playing since 11 o'clock. It's now, or excuse me, since 10 o'clock, and it's now about 11:45.
Okay.
So he's been playing a lot of basketball, and I could just see. And then he starts making a bunch, and then he's off again. And game wraps up. I'm changing my shoes and stuff, and he comes out, and he's getting his stuff. He's like, "Oh, my shot's off, blah, blah." And then all of a sudden, as I get up, the guy who was on his team comes out and goes, "Hey, I just wanted to say hi. I didn't want to be creepy or anything, but I recognized him from the podcast." And I said, "Oh, well, thank you." He's like, and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "He's pretty good, but we lost." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, I said, "He plays for Fairport." And he goes, "Oh, how old are you?" And Jameson says 14. The guy's like, "Wow, 14, you're a big guy for 14. And he is. He'll be 15 in about a month. So
he's bigger than I am. I'm 44.
Yeah. So the guy says, "Hey," and he mentions a radio show I used to be on, and how much he loved it, and how much he loved the chemistry and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And and he asked me, "How's the podcast going?" And I'll get people who say, "Come on, man, you have no listeners. I see the YouTube numbers." And I'm like, I don't ever concentrate on YouTube.
Right.
I concentrate on the downloads. I don't even put our ads on YouTube. So I'm starting to think I've been doing it wrong, because people go to YouTube for, I've been doing it wrong. I feel like maybe,
I don't think you've been doing it wrong. I think you just got to elevate the YouTube part of it.
Okay.
Because there's some people who have just completely their lives are now just YouTubing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've been a radio guy first. Your podcast numbers are phenomenal. And I'm not making that up. We know this for a fact.
Yeah.
But people look at YouTube because they go to YouTube and you can see the numbers in real time. So people assume that, well, nobody's watching.
Well,
but no, that's not your focus.
No, my focus has been the downloads of audio the next day. And I think scrolling across the screen, I have something that says, available wherever you get your podcast, but it's usually the next day. And I get people who, when I haven't done a podcast, going, "Hey man, did you do one today?" I'll get messages because they download the audio. And you're right.
Yeah.
I was a radio guy, so that's where I concentrated first. But I'm starting to think like I'm doing this all wrong.
Okay.
And
Let's get it going. You want me to dance?
no,
We're live.
No. I just think like I've got to figure out ways to do it more interactively for YouTube.
Yeah. I
And
think another pair of hands, I think that's what I know.
is that what I need?
Maybe.
Oh, Christ.
Well, let me help you out, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know.
Let me help you out.
Okay.
We'll learn
It's the
together.
best answer
There's
ever.
got to be a TED Talk out there somewhere.
Well, here's the
How
thing.
to build a YouTube following
I'm
in
telling
15
you-
minutes
I'm telling you right now.
with Ted.
All of this, like, okay, I'm going to ask you to put on your Danny Life Coach hat.
All right, Bill.
Okay, no, I'm dead serious.
I got to
And
get my
and
tweed
I
jacket on.
I don't want you to get all weird on me.
My tweed hat.
I feel like a lot of people are probably in a similar situation. Maybe it's the time of year. I don't know. I am feeling so overwhelmed right now, like overwhelmed to the point where what
My
happens.
wife asked me that if you were feeling overwhelmed today. I'm not joking. She goes, "Is Billy overwhelmed? Does he need help with everything?"
What?
She asked me that. I go, "No, I'm sure he's fine." She has a sixth sense about these things. Now you're saying, I'm like, okay. Like, oh my gosh, she knew. She must have.
You're gonna make me go way off topic.
sorry.
I'm thinking, no. You're gonna like.
Let me life coach you. I apologize.
All right, so I'm just going. I'm feeling way overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed about some personal relationships. I'm feeling overwhelmed with my kid. I'm feeling not overwhelmed in a bad way, but like he wanted to go to his girlfriend's house today. He was over there yesterday. I let him stay 8 o'clock at night. They are from France. They do eat later. They are going back to France for the February winter break.
I thought they eat more like in the middle of the day.
I don't know.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
No. I'm not snapping at you. I don't know.
No, I know you're not
I'm
snapping.
starting to snap, but I'm not. I don't know. That's how I've been all day. That's how I've been all.
Is that why you didn't want the coffee? Is that
No,
you wanted coffee?
I got coffee.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, because I like the Costa Rican coffee again.
So it's a new relationship, and he's new in
see,
town.
he wants to go. Okay.
You're adjusting. He's adjusting.
I'm trying to just get him. Here's my thing with Jameson. I'm going to say a lot of stuff here, and there's going to be people who may not appreciate what I'm saying. But that's not my problem. Jameson did not have a traditional school setting as we know it. Get up, get on the bus, or get up and get dropped off to school every day of the week for the past 3 years. He was homeschooled for a minute. He went to
I didn't know that.
He went to a Renaissance school where most of it was online, and you went in 2 days a week, and you were only there for a couple hours. He did well.
Sounds like my kind of school.
He actually did well. But now, when he wanted to move here, I don't have that luxury, right? To homeschool or Renaissance school. So he's going every day, and he's been doing it, and he's doing well. But that's a big switch, right? Even at 14, it's a big switch. So I've been hyper conscious of all the things, and I haven't been super tough on him. I haven't. I mean, we had one blow up, dust up in the beginning, and and that was my fault, and I made a lot of changes after that. But I'm like, so today he was going to go over at 4 o'clock. I'm pulling the rug. I go, it's 4 o'clock's too late on a Sunday. It just is. Because then I'm like, I'll pick you up at 6. Well, I don't want to be there for you. So you're trying to balance that. And you got the meal prep, and you've got this, and you've got all these things. And I have bigger focus that I want to get to. Like, I still don't have our website live, right? And I have a website that I pay for, but I don't have it live. You know, these are the things that are driving me crazy. And I go, is it just me, or is everybody feeling overwhelmed? And what do you do? What would you say to somebody in that scenario? I think I have an answer, but I would almost get pissed at myself for giving the answer. So I'd like to hear what you would say.
Well, first of all, take a step back. And I would do like what they call the cross method. Okay.
Yep.
And that's not a faith-based mechanism. That's just pros and cons. Okay. Take a list of all the pros in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. That you're feeling really good about, excited about,
Yeah.
and all the not cons necessarily, but things that you're like, that you're a little scared of. And then from the pros, then take the cons and be like, okay, how can I eliminate these? How can I delegate these? Then the pros do the same thing. This is awesome that Jameson's living here. But what are some of the, not cons, but what are some of the consequences of that? Well, he now has a girlfriend. He's in a new school setting. He's got this. He's got basketball. He has friends.
Yeah.
We have one car. and it's just me and Jameson. So how do I delegate, not delegate raising him, but like, how do we get him on a schedule that's conducive so that he understands that he needs to check in with you? There's more of a system. Then you start putting like little systems in place, right?
Oh, all right.
Like,
okay.
so take the cons. What can I get rid of in my life that I do not need right now? Or can I put it off?
Yeah.
Right? Is this necessary? Like, do I need, or can I do this in June? Can I do this in May? Can I do this in April? Put those off. Okay. So, and then from there, come up with a list of outcomes. This is not a to-do list. Outcomes. I want Jameson to get through this year and pass and have a great experience with basketball and make sure that like this summer, he still wants to live with me and we have a great relationship, right?
Yep.
That's an outcome. That's going to require a lot of action. What are the actions I need to take for that and branch off from there? Same thing with the podcast. Okay. What are the pros? I got this cool guy named Dan. He's on. He's awesome. I got this great guy named Kevin.
Yeah.
I got this chick named Laura. She seems okay. Mark Hillman's cool. You got these cool people, and then you get them on, and then okay, what schedule can I get them on, and what can I delegate to these guys to make this podcast grow? Because we could all go further if we go together, right? You can go by yourself. Like remember when Facebook and Twitter and all these guys were competing with each other,
Yeah.
and then they realized, let's sit down and have a meeting and figure out how we can divide and conquer the world. We could all go further if we go together. So what do? They all started working together with the iPhone and the Android phone, got their apps together. You could actually work all the apps together. You could send messages together. Yeah, they're competing, but not really. They're kind of like, okay, I'm going after this kind of audience. You're going after this kind of audience. You're going after, like, Instagram's going after this audience. So in other words, yeah, they're competing, but they're all helping each other get
Right,
rich.
and they sort of, yeah.
So they all, like, the rising tide floats all boats.
Right.
So and I know that sounds overwhelming and complicated. When you do the cross list, you get rid of all the cons stuff. What do not need right now? What can I put off right now? What do I need to do right now? And what needs to happen by 2026? And then you work from there with the outcomes, work backwards, and then figure out who can help. Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me on this journey?
Yeah.
Like who's my other Billy? Who's my second? How do I clone myself? Who's coming with, and who isn't coming with me? Who's dead weight that I need to get rid of? I'll be honest with you. I asked about a friend that I had years back, and I just kind of like cut them out of my life because I realized that they weren't really benefiting me.
Yeah.
But long term, because of that relationship I had with him, like oddly enough, I am now married to someone. Why? Because he introduced me to a person who was also playing guitar, who wanted to start a band, and we started this band.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, I restarted that band and eventually met my wife.
Yeah.
So in a way, as much as that guy was a pain in the neck, I owe him for helping me open that door.
That's an interesting thing, pros and cons, because I think we do
And
that.
they're not necessarily cons. They're just like,
All right, I like that you're saying not necessarily cons
Because,
let me interrupt for just 1 second, and I apologize, but cons sometimes we do that as human beings. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Pros and
think
cons.
of pros and consequences.
Yes,
That's
I like
a better
that.
way to look at
That's
it.
actually really good.
Pros and consequences, because consequences aren't. I mean, they're not always bad. Like in other words,
I have made fun of you for being a life coach. I poked.
Oh, I remember.
I remember.
I poked.
But you
on a couple different shows.
But that
People got back to me. You know who's making fun of you right now? Like, yeah, that's why we haven't talked in 10 years.
Well, but see, the thing is, like, I only got mad at you because I thought you wanted to get back into radio. And
Yeah,
there
that was
an
a misunderstanding by somebody
that was
who was a sniveling little weasel.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't have a bad thing to say about you.
I appreciate that.
I know.
That feels good, Bill.
I never did. I never did.
Yeah, he's okay.
No, I never had a bad thing to say about you.
No, I
I
know.
just, I guess the negative would be he
You
gets.
did defend me to some people. I did hear that too.
Oh, I don't even know.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. That wasn't the point of this. I have to say, like, that's a really good method,
Yeah.
and I like that, and I like looking at things. And my thing too is also I get overwhelmed with time, and then I'm feeling a little weird today because anybody who's in a similar situation to the one I'm in may be able to relate to this. I don't know, but I would think that I'm certainly not the only person who's gone through this sort of stuff. You're not treading new territory necessarily.
There's nothing new under the sun.
No, but I was feeling a little bit bad because I got a text last night from Jameson's grandmother on his mom's side, and his mom and I are not divorced. We are legally separated.
Mhm.
Okay. And
Estranged. It sounds like a harsh term, but that's kind of what it is.
okay. It does sound like a harsh term. It sounds like I'm nuts.
Well, estranged sounds like strangle.
Yeah, yes, it does. So she was reaching out to say basically that she hasn't heard from him in a while, and she wanted to support him, and she knows he's been more active in basketball lately. And was there anything? So I decided, because he was still over at his friend's house, that I'd give her a call. Just see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I called her.
That's wise.
We had a very nice conversation. I always liked them. And she said to me, thank you for all what you're doing, whatever. And I felt bad because she said, and she said something, and I'm going to forget the way she phrased it. It was pretty good, but she's like, the complexities of the relationship now. And I'm going, don't let that get in the way. Don't let anything get in the way. There are reasons, there are things that happen, but you're still his grandmother and a thing. So I said to him today, I told him last night, I said, listen, I talked to your grandmother. She'd love to talk to you. She wants to support your basketball, all that stuff. And he was like, all right, great. And I said, you can try to call her now, or I'd like to have you call her tomorrow. So then I said to him, hey man, and he's a kid, right? You're running around. We're all running around. We're going to the Y. We're doing this. I said, listen, I'm going to jump in the shower. I think you really should call your grandmother. So I get out of the shower. I go, you're already off the phone. He goes, yeah, we talked for like 3 minutes. I go, why? Because I told her I was laying down, and she said, all right, I'll let you rest. And I'm like, buddy. And I think it's just this weird place that everybody's in. And I don't want that. I want them to have great relationships with everybody. There's no wrong or bad in my mind at all. But maybe I'm.
And that's not something that's ever going to go away. Like my grandmother is 95. She lives in a nursing home, and she's hard to talk to. I mean, she's cool. She's with it while you're talking to her. But I've had to tell her the name of my wife 17 times in the last 2 years. And did you get married? Yeah, Grandma, you sent me a gift. Remember? I mean, when you do that, you kind of like, now Jameson's grandmother's like still sharp.
Oh yeah.
But he's at that age of 14 where, yeah, I just had a big day with the girl. I just played basketball. I don't want to be bothered by something.
Yes, you got it
right. And you never outgrow that. You have to overcome that fleshly desire and cultivate that relationship, because one day grandma's going to be gone. You're like, man, I wish I could talk to her.
Yes, and that's another thing. But I was feeling a little like overwhelmed, like, God, you want to make sure. And sometimes when you try, and this is the wrong way to do it, but you're trying to please everybody, and no one can. And I'm not trying to please her, but I do want him to have a better relationship. He needs
Rick
to
Nelson,
pick up the
garden
phone.
party, right?
Yeah, a little bit. But at the same time, you're like, God damn. So I like that the T method. Yeah, the pros and cons.
And then like you're gonna like, I mean, the cons, like the stuff that you could like the cons of stuff you could immediately get rid of them. Then like pros and consequences, right?
Yeah.
Because some of the consequences are good consequences, but they're gonna have like work.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a bad thing. It's not. It's something you got to work at, right?
Yeah.
The cons that are bad, just get rid of. If you could get rid of them or try to make them better. But pros and consequences, like I'm excited I got this podcast. Okay, but what are some of the consequences of that podcast? Okay, now what can I delegate? What can I eliminate? And then you go from
what's going to take me a freaking week to do.
But no, I really won't. Just do one item at a time. Like one day, one item at a time. So like, let's say tomorrow you do the podcast. Tuesday you do the T method on your laundry. Wednesday, Jameson. Thursday, your dad and mom. Parents are always a fun one.
Oh, you do the pros and cons of your parents?
No, my mom's great. My dad's gone. I'm just saying, like,
yes.
Think of all the first question you need to ask yourself is like, what am I excited about in my life right now?
Yeah.
And then list, and then go from there.
Okay.
And then the other question is, what do I dread about my life right now? And then list those, and then go from there.
There's some days
because if you're excited about stuff, you'll build momentum.
Yes.
You'll build, and then you're like, yes, I can do this and this and this.
Yes.
You'll sit there for an hour, and it'll feel like you sat there for like 5 minutes because you're excited about that.
Yeah.
The stuff you dread, you may also be excited about because now I could get rid of it.
I wonder if we should spark up Danny life coaching, and I'm not being funny. I wonder if we should.
I would love to help people. I gotta be more of a taskmaster though if I do it.
No, I don't mean like people. What if we did a Danny life coaching podcast?
We could do that.
Like seriously,
yeah.
Where Danny answers questions, or maybe we just have it as part of this one. We do a segment.
Yeah, we could do that's how I'd like to start. It could be like a TV spinoff. It becomes a podcast.
Okay.
Like, from the creators of Bill
I kind of like that. Maybe every Sunday we do a little Danny life coach.
Yeah.
Is that or
yeah? Bring me your problems.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna start.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've undergone a lot of, I don't want to say therapy, but I've actually looked into a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I get that, and but that was a great piece right there.
But like Kevin says, Danny, you have a lot of time on your hands to do those things. Well, let's do it then.
Yeah.
Let me be a blessing to you, because I don't have any kids. I just have me and my wife, and we're good.
I sometimes get overwhelmed. I think a lot of parents do that. I feel like I just need to work. I have said out loud to my kid, all I do is work 24/7. And that's overwhelming, but that's not his fault.
No.
He doesn't need to hear that at all.
But he's the only one in earshot. You got to give it to somebody or tell somebody.
You got to chunk it down.
Yes.
Chunk it down. And
also, what can I talk to with Jameson? What can't I talk to with Jameson? What can I talk to with someone outside help in my life? Who is that person?
Yeah.
What friends do I need to surround myself with? What friends do I need to get away from or spend less time with? These are just my party friends. It is what it is. These are my confidants, like Greg. Yeah. Greg is someone you can go to, and really talk about.
I will tell you, like Greg and Damien, and people will probably think Damien's more of a party friend, but Damien has been
we only see the tip of the iceberg with Damien. We don't see the under.
He has been a brother to me.
Yeah,
like deep many years. And then I lack because I haven't been over there. I think pretty much for the whole month
sometimes we give more and sometimes we get more.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, anyway. I thought that was good. All right, I'm going to give you a choice. Choose your own adventure for the next segment.
All right.
We can either shoot off what Beth said earlier, okay, or we can ask you because
she asked out of concern too.
No.
Is Billy overwhelmed?
No, that's okay.
And I never heard until today. I've never heard that word come out of your mouth.
Right. Yeah.
So it's weird how she just
there's something I have a different thing.
Okay.
We can do that, or I can have you put on another hat, your former ride sharing hat.
Okay.
Which one would you like to do? Because we could do both. We'll do both.
Okay.
But
let's start with overwhelmed.
You want to do the overwhelmed thing?
Yeah.
I will tell you because this is going to be an offshoot completely of that. But why I think maybe she knows, I'm not sure. All right. We'll get to all that right after this. What are you laughing at?
So in the early days of Thinker's Bridge, we had a bass player named Ken Welling. We never played the song, but he would play because this is the bass line. But he would do it. He'd take his bass out and pretend like he was in a porno movie and start thrusting his hips with the bass. Because it sounds like you're in an adult film with this song. Not that I would know. I've been told. But he would do that. And I could always picture Ken Welling.
The Twilight Zone. So Beth asked you today if I was overwhelmed, and the reason I said this is kind of amazing in a way is I think that there are certain frequencies that people are tapped into, and I know that Beth is more like me in some things.
Yeah, like your beliefs,
yes,
and ideas.
Yes.
Because you guys have talked about how like when I'm in the room, how could Danny believe blah blah blah?
Have I done that?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, that's
the Christmas party afterward.
It's very.
I don't get it.
I was
a bunch of Gentiles following this Jewish dude.
So, but here's what I'm saying. I got turned on to a podcast called The Telepathy Tapes.
Okay, that's clever.
And the telepathy tapes are about nonverbal autistic children.
Okay. Like Doug Flutie's son, almost.
That can't speak, and parents have been told they're not in there, and there's nothing that can really happen, and you can't get much, right?
Oh, okay.
So my sister told me about this, and so I listened, and I listened to one episode. And in that episode, it's done like a documentary. I'm sure there's a film somewhere of this. I don't even know when this was released. I have no idea. But what they did was there's a Harvard professor who has studied children that are nonverbal, but they have telepathic tendencies. Okay.
Well, that's the thing about autism, right? Like,
well,
the basics are hard, but the difficult stuff is a lot easier.
Okay. So she says that, so in the first episode, and I'd love to get the woman on who did this to just talk to her or somebody. This stuff fascinates me. And that's the stuff I'd like to do, because I'm going to start a supporters club with the podcast. You right. If you'd like to, this Billified will be free. But I'd like to do other more investigative pieces. Like I'd love to do a whole one on, will gambling control the NFL or sports in general? Will they start to influence the rules and things? And just have sort of an investigative podcast. Can we get a couple people on? And if you are a supporter, you would get access to that, right? As a bonus, you would get access to that. That wouldn't be free.
Plus, you'll also get my life coach. Sign up now.
Yeah, it's like,
I will come to your house.
It's like $3 a month or something. But anyway, so that's all coming.
Yeah.
And but so I'm listening to this, and they find a family in Mexico who has a daughter who is non-verbal, autistic girl who communicates like through an iPad or something. Okay. And the woman who is from Harvard and this person doing the documentary, they bring them up to Los Angeles. She has an interpreter as well. And they do things like they put mom on the other side of a barrier and they show her a number, and the kid types out the exact number that mom's looking at. And she's right every single time that they do this. And this woman says, yes, I've done a lot of these studies. The Harvard professor, I've done a lot of these studies, and I would say it's more than 85% accurate that the kid. The reason it can't be justified as a study is that it's the mom and the daughter. Like the father and the daughter don't have that connection, but the mom and the daughter do. Well, that's somebody you're dependent on, and or a teacher or somebody. Do you see what I'm saying?
Because dad goes to work, so mom's got to watch the
whatever it is. The mom's thoughts can be read by this girl.
Okay,
right? It's kind of freaky.
It could just be coincidental.
Well, it could be coincidental, or in a study, it would be more or less that mom is too connected. They'd want to bring in a neutral subject who's never met this girl. Can you read her thoughts? So the podcast goes on and they find more and more and more people. And I was up to this one part in the episode. I think it's episode 4 or 5. And they go down to Georgia where there is or maybe they went to Georgia, New Jersey, wherever it is. There was a kid who the mother, they were from India, was always told, not in there, not going to happen. And she was about to give up on the kid, or one of the parents were, and the kid came and said to the mom, "I love you." And she's like, it kind of re-sparked this thing. Well, there's one kid, they do all the tests. They put the mom in another room. The numbers she's looking at, he gets it right. The colors, the thing, they do all these different random number generators, math problems that they give the mom with numbers that she can't do without a calculator. The kid gets it immediately by looking at just the problem. They're just showing her the problem, not the answer, but just the problem. And the kid is getting it. And the kid says, yes, that's one of the gifts and that I get with autism. He can't speak, but he's speaking through an iPad. And he sometimes, if there's words that aren't on the iPad, he'll spell it out. And the long and short of it is, he says that nonverbal speaking children meet every day on the hill. And it's like this proverbial hill, and says, we have conversations and we talk. You don't need to be in the same zip code. You don't need anywhere. He's like, look, he's going, the people do it with their iPhones and their computers. We just do it with our minds. And he goes, and then they go, are you lying? And he goes, I couldn't do this if I were a liar. The gifts don't work if I lie. The gifts work because I don't lie.
Wow.
And he said, everything's wavelength. It's all there.
It's all frequency.
It's all frequency.
Okay.
It's like people who used to get, they even do a thing with Lucille Ball. Like they used to use certain types of fillings or temporary fillings in your teeth. And
she
people,
got radio stations.
You got it. There was even an episode I remember as a kid of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Where they did something and they're getting in.
Screech and Save the Bell. Same thing.
Okay. So there you go. So we see all this stuff, right? So I'm wondering, and I'm going to tell you a weird story. I'm wondering, like with Beth, if somewhere she thought about me and could feel that.
I think that was part of it, because my wife plans everything.
Right.
Okay. She already knows who's going to play in the Super Bowl next year. By the way, she picked the Chiefs and the Eagles this year. I want everybody to understand that. That's how into it she is. That's why she went to bed in the fourth quarter of the biggest AFC championship game ever. But no, I'm just joking. But I think she goes, hey, has Bill contacted you about the podcast this week? I go, no. She goes, well, do you want to reach out to him? I go, well, I don't want to bug him. He's probably sure he's got a plan. She goes, he may be overwhelmed. You might want to reach. I'm like, okay. Because I don't want to bug you. I mean, I know what you want to do. You'll reach out to me. Like,
yeah.
You know,
well, it's better when you reach out, because then I don't feel like I'm bugging you.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we have that, so let's communicate that. We understand. Okay, cool. Now I know that. But like, she goes, he may be overwhelmed. And I'm like, holy cow. Come to think of it. I mean, you got a lot going on.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. I just think that there's sometimes, if you open your mind and you just let things go, and if thoughts, this is going to sound crazy stuff to people. I know it. I listened to something the other day, and it said, close your eyes. And it's like, I hand you a big, I slice in half a lemon, and I hand it to you, and you can see it. And you can see like the juice is starting to leak out of the skin of it, and the flesh being all plump and ripe and all this stuff. And I hand it to you, and you take a big bite of it. It's like, if you close your eyes, you can be right there doing all that. Mm-hmm. And the point is that if you picture it, you can have it, you can do it, you can see it. And that, are we tapped into one greater consciousness that anybody can do this telepathy stuff? Or is there, what's going on? How does this work? And in this podcast, there's a kid in Phoenix, I don't know where he is, some other state. And he goes, this mother said, I got a call once from this woman who said to me, my son, who's 9, is best friends with your son. They hang out, and he gave me your phone number, like telepathically.
Oh, wow.
The kid was in another state. It's bizarre. People won't believe it. They shit upon it. If you read the comments to the podcast, they shit all over it. All I'm telling you is,
Well, that's the internet in general.
no, I understand. But look, Marconi harnessed waves to make radio, right?
Yes.
The transatlantic, or maybe Tesla, and then Marconi stole it. Who knows?
Hey, don't blame the Italians.
Well,
Yeah,
weren't
I
they
know.
both Italian? Is it Tesla Italian?
Yeah, I think he might have been. I don't know.
So
Boopy.
I'm just saying, like, there's something there, and there's a thought thing. And if you're on the frequency, if I'm on 102.5, I can't hear what's on 97.8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So where are you on your frequency, and how do you change that? And I'm starting to really think this stuff is real. So I listened to that one episode of the telepathy tapes, and I have been very open about the fact that I have been substitute teaching. I thought people would make tremendous fun of me, and I was afraid to say anything, but it's me, and I just go, fuck it. But I have really enjoyed that more than I thought I would. And it's been good because it's been able to help me do things with Jameson, right? That just a lot of unseen expenses, right? The basketball team needs money, and there's this, and
Sneakers.
this is $100, and this is $300.
By the way, have you been hit up for like 18 fundraisers this past week like I have?
No, just 2.
Okay. Well,
Just
that's the
2.
point, though.
Just 2.
Hey, we know Christmas is over, and
Right.
now it's time to spend your money again.
Yes, I know. So, what was I going to say here?
Frequencies.
No, I know frequencies, but so I have been in a classroom where they have 2 nonverbal kids. Okay,
Mhm.
I've been in there once in a while, and I like it. Some of the kids are verbal, and I've talked to them, and some of them not. The nonverbal kids I never really interact with. I listen to this podcast, and I walk in one day, and I'm looking at this one kid, and I go, wonder if you can read my thoughts. Because in this podcast too, one kid, it's sometimes like if he gets anxious, he's not as telepathic when his anxiety's up. And when he's in crowded spaces, apparently he can read everybody's thoughts, and sometimes runs into a room looking for the person who had a certain thought in their head.
Wow. Okay.
I know it sounds insane. So I'm just telling you this,
Do I
okay?
want cheeseburgers or do I want hamburgers?
I am looking at this kid and I go, dude, can you hear me?
Right.
Can you? And he's not looking up at me. And sometimes in this podcast, they say the kid isn't making eye contact or anything, but answering every question. So I'm looking at him, and he's got his own person who is with him all day long. This guy is just with this person, this non-speaking kid. So the kid, they go over, they put him in a chair. He's sitting in a chair. And I keep looking at him, and his guy goes to lunch. So other people are going to look at him, to look after this kid. And whatever happened, I don't even know. The kid started like gesturing toward me. So I went over, and he likes to play with straws. So he's handing me straws, pulling it out, putting it back, putting it out. And then I don't know what I did, but I started tapping my leg. He starts tapping his leg. Then he takes my hand, and I'm sitting on this giant, like a giant beanbag, but an overstuffed, big plush thing. And he puts my hand and starts raising up and down there, right? So we start doing that. So we're tapping. I go, you get this, man. You can feel that rhythm, right? And then he's tapping on the side of his chair. Then he puts my hand back on my leg, and he goes to his leg, and back and forth. This goes on for a while. Danny, this total went on for probably 45 minutes. So then I start doing, I go, did you ever hear a horse? So he starts trying to do that. The next thing I know, the other nonverbal kid comes over and flops on this over thing behind me. And he too has a person who's with him all day. And that person is there and says, you know, the kid's name's like, hey, you're going to go over there and hang out? The next thing I know, that kid puts his head on my lap, takes my hand, and wants me to start tapping on his ribs.
Okay.
I have no idea, but I go, did I tap into a frequency that these guys were on? Is this stuff real? I couldn't read their thoughts. Maybe they could read mine. I have no idea. That's not the, but you know, like some of these parents will say, I feel very like exposed to find out that my kid could always read my thoughts. Like this one woman is a single mom. she married some big jock, abusive, right? And the kid said to her, and she was the one who was saying, I was going to give up. And then he said he loved me. That he's saying to her, and he's communicating, he goes, I knew what was happening and I couldn't say anything because I didn't know how to express it. I could never tell. And he said there's more and other people who were abused by that guy than, probably his dad. Right. It's crazy. But my point is, when you said that about Beth, I go, I just wonder sometimes, because how many times have we, all of us, thought of somebody and the phone rings and it's that person, or thought of somebody, gone to our email and there's an email from that person, or something you think of any coincidence.
It happened to me twice today already.
Okay. So I just wonder if there is this thing, and how do we figure it out, and how cool would that be? How much easier is life? Do we just make it too fucking hard? Because we're down here overwhelmed, right? Getting ourselves all stressed, all fucked up, and you're not able to do anything. When you're overwhelmed, you're not able to do anything. You're like a one-legged duck going quack, 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 quack. Right? You're just in a circle.
Everything
you
becomes pervasive. One problem.
Right.
Everything
and I go, boy, this and the telepathy, it's a fantastic, so well done podcast, but really in a very academic fashion, right? And they explain, and she says how the camera guy is really a non-believer. And she then interviews him after seeing a couple things. He goes, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it with my own eyes. He's a skeptic, more or less, right?
When I was growing up in church in Sunday school, we had a teacher named Mrs. Lown. She would teach us. She goes, look, with all the gifts you have, there's gifts you don't that other people have. And there are a lot of people, whom maybe less fortunate. Like if you look at somebody who's blind, they're amazing. You ever notice that? Right. So God compensates for what they don't have with other aspects.
Okay. Well,
and you have to wonder if that's his way of you'd never want to trade places with them. But I'm serious. Let's be honest. I mean, do you want to trade places?
I don't know, because this is my only normal. Right.
Right.
But I would say but
maybe they'd want to trade places with you for your normal.
Okay. But here's what I think, that I've come to think and believe. I believe creation never gets it wrong, no matter what.
Okay.
Creation never gets it wrong. So if there's
God don't make mistakes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we believe, call it God, if God made everything, and it never gets it wrong. So then there's a reason why. What is the reason why? And sometimes I think it's because, certain people, depending on where they are on the spectrum, can show you unconditional love, completely unconditional love, which I think is a very hard thing for human beings, because I would feel better if you just, that's conditional.
Yes.
Right.
I'll forgive you if
you just, that's conditional.
That's conditional.
Right. And I think that's the stuff. So I don't know. I can't explain it. I agree with you. I like right. But one of these kids said, I didn't even realize I had a body until my mom started making me touch my fingers and hands.
Wasn't it like Helen Keller's story?
I don't know. I don't know.
I need to read about her.
But
because her story has got to be the most fascinating story.
I'm just saying, yes, and I'm sure she too, but they can read,
right?
They can read thoughts. First of all, if somebody could read your thoughts, that's pretty freaky.
That is scary. Especially when you have OCD.
Jerk it off again. Thinking of jerking off, are you?
Daniel, you're looking at boobs. Not intentionally.
No. Are you thinking about boobs?
Yeah, right.
You're in the grocery store and then somebody walks by and you go, "Ooh, nice rack." In your head.
Yes.
In your head.
Every time.
And
not every time. You say no. Having somebody know that you're thinking that every time. Not that I'm thinking about it every time.
No, I try to justify that. I'm just saying, wouldn't that be weird? It would be very strange. I don't know. I don't think this stuff is made up. I think these people are being very honest, and I have to listen to more of it, but it's called the Telepathy Tapes for anybody who wants to check out a really well done academia podcast. Actually, I've had a listener or two reach out about it as well. Now that I think about it.
Let's say Alzheimer's or Parkinson's patients remember music, either playing it or singing it.
Yeah, I think more Alzheimer's. I don't know.
Like they remember the lyrics to songs. Like music is one way they could tap into people.
Yeah.
Because like it's a different neural pathway.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating if we could tap into it. Like my nephew, they thought they'd bring him to Strong. No, he's got autism. My sister eventually moves him to Tucson, Arizona, which has been made fun of for being the dumbest city in America.
Okay.
She goes out west with her whole uproots her whole family out there, and they got to the root of it. It wasn't autism. It's something that looks like autism, but it's not autism. Found out it was a form of PANS. Right around the time we were having these issues here, like in Leroy, remember that whole situation. But it needed a different diagnosis to figure out how they can make my nephew a better, well,
all you want your
more
kid
adapted to life.
Yes, you want your kid to be functioning, right?
Right. That's the whole thing.
You want to leave the planet knowing that they were.
So when that happened, all of a sudden, all these people are reaching out to my sister.
Yeah.
And she's trying to help everybody.
Yeah.
And then it became overwhelming. And then she had to stop because I got my own son to worry about too.
Yeah.
But they were onto stuff like this, So it's fascinating how, you can't just like one size fits all the situation. I think there's many different forms of this, and however you can help your kid tap into it.
Isn't that weird though?
Yeah. But I think some people like, I remember like,
I want to see if I could tap into it.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah.
Let's just say we can't.
But what are you
right there?
I mean,
it's right there
theoretically, but you got to be careful though, because then you cannot allow it to like those cosplay, no, not cosplay, the Coldplay type of people take advantage of people.
Yeah.
I'll read your mind for $50 an hour.
Oh.
To me, that's no. That's
I don't
taking
want that.
advantage.
I just want to be able to
do it yourself.
I just want to be able. Here's the thing. I would love. My favorite phrase is ease and flow. I like ease and flow in my life, and I would like to be able to just ease and flow. Get out of here.
Ease and flow.
Just ease and flow. And I think sometimes if you were able to almost communicate telepathically, here's my thing: is it telepathic? Or is it everything that the weirdos have been telling us since time began? We're all one. We're all one. There's one consciousness. God is in you. You are of God. You are of that. You are of that. And that, can you tap into that pure positive light? And it's all right here. Everything you want is right there. It's all right there. But what we do is we mix it up and we come down here, and that's what you wanted to do. You want to mix it up, and there's the things you don't want, what you do want, but we get so sometimes bogged down that we forget that we have this ability because we are of that. So why not?
Life is a series of trade-offs.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the chemicals that are in our food, which lead to a lot of these issues.
Sure.
But at the same time, do you really want to give up that ice cream?
Well,
do you really want to give up that steak? Do you really want to give up the A1 sauce? Do you really want to give up the beef jerky? Do you really want to give up the Coca-Cola?
Yes.
Because if you can, great. But if you can't, you want to enjoy your life now. Okay, but it might be shorter. Life is nothing but a series of trade-offs. And that includes our DNA too.
But I would think, I guess there's a series of trade-offs. I sometimes wonder if it's more like, if you believe it's going to happen type thing. Now, this is bad for me, but I don't.
The Bible says the root of all problems is unbelief.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yes.
The root of all, now, I believe that is belief in Christ, but the point is root of all problems is unbelief.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Think about believing.
You could get very, very deep, and this is why
we could, but that's why you got me here.
That's why I like to do the Bill Lightman podcast, but I don't.
Here's the thing. I had a friend named Bill Moran who once told me this, and it stuck with me ever since that day. We're talking about a friend of ours, more of a friend of yours, Elvio Fernandez.
Yeah.
He always wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
That was his passion. And he found a way to do it.
Yeah.
He is now on tour now, I think 15 years with Daughtry, Chris Daughtry.
What did I say?
And you said he wanted to be if you want to do something, you will.
You will.
At least make the effort.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And then you parlayed it into a reason why the station was screwing us. Which was also true because they didn't want to help us. But the point is, though, is that, and I say this, I go, if you want to do something, you will make the effort at the very least. Like, I want to be a Major League Baseball player. I could have practiced my off. It never would have happened. I couldn't even make my varsity team. Okay.
Right.
In a Class C school at 6. You don't get any worse than that. Okay.
Sorry, I probably would have been.
I didn't qualify as an athlete. Okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, though, as I wanted to, I tried. If you want to do something, you will make the effort. You will research it. You will figure out a way to do it. If you don't do it, at least you tried. And if you really don't want to do it, you'll find an excuse.
Well, you'll find an excuse, but I think a lot of times too is we make it too hard.
Yeah, we complicate
And
it.
that's why I always say things like, don't share those ideas until they're underway.
Yeah, right.
And the reason I say that is because people put doubt in your head. It's too hard. It's out of reach. A guy like you can't be a baseball player. Dan, look at you. You're not athletic. But if you didn't believe that, if
Mhm.
you didn't think that, and you actually sat in your mind and pictured yourself doing whatever, I wonder if it would have happened. I don't know. I can't say you're right. We can talk about gifts and athletic ability and all that stuff, and you plod and you don't run. And I'm teasing.
Dude, I run like a 3-legged deer. I'm not joking.
Anyway, this got way deeper than I
You
thought.
could hear me coming down the street like Jackson Moran.
Yeah, Jackson's got big, heavy feet.
When I lived down the street
Yeah.
from him, I'm like, are there horses? I looked at, it's Jackson Moran running like a marathon
Yeah,
down
heavy
Harvard
feet.
Street.
All right, we'll take a moment. I want you to put on your
hell
ride sharing hat.
Ride sharing.
Yes.
My Phelps, my inner Phelps.
Okay, put on your inner Phelps. We will get to that. Sorry to get a little deep on you, but
No,
I'm
that's what
telling
we're
you,
here for.
There's a greater consciousness out there, and you can tap into it.
I
Somebody
tapped to it
is.
this morning at church.
There you go. All that next.
Woke up this morning to somebody in a video talking about something I posted in a video. If it wasn't me, then would you even get offended? Or is it just because I'm black and heavy? Y'all don't hear me though. I've been the same since I've been driving slow on Bissonnet. Call up anybody I know and they will tell you that fame is pretty new, but I've been used to people judging me. That's why I move the way I move and why I'm so in love with me. I'm used to feeling alone. So I thought that I'd let you know, in case nobody told you today, you're special.
Is this Lizzo?
Yeah.
In case nobody
Yeah.
made
In Bisonet. Is that a semi-glutide?
you're special.
I don't know. I've always wondered. I think this song is empowering. I think it's great. I'm not sure with things like the story I'm about to bring up to you and present to you. You may have heard about it already. I don't know. It's been everywhere.
Mhm.
But I said something to my son, and he said, "I hope you're not going to shame people," and he meant it. And I thought, no, I'm not. That wasn't the angle I was going to go with. But I sometimes wonder, do we? And I'm going to ask. I'll ask the question. Maybe it's rhetorical, more or less, one to just chew on. But do we harm people by telling them we're accepting them the way they are? Not fat shaming. I'm not saying that we should be making people feel like shit. That's not right. I got that, and I get like I love busting balls, and I probably made I know I did made tons of fat jokes. So Lori Calaffonso was, and she wasn't even fat, but so there was all that stuff as a kid, and kids can be very mean and cruel and all that stuff. But sometimes when it's all this body acceptance and all this shit, are we perpetuating a bigger problem? Are we not helping people lead better, healthier lives? And I'm not even saying live longer. I'm just saying think clearer, feel better, less sugar. Let's get you off that stuff. Let's find, should instead of body acceptance, should we be trying to, the urban food deserts, for example, where you can't really get any nutritious food, but you can get pork rinds and a bottle of whatever soda you want.
Yes.
Right.
A BK broiler.
Do you know? But I mean, should we be trying to push in there with some organic food and things like that? You can't control people to that level. That's right. But should we allow more options is my point. So that way, if one day I wake up and go, I don't want to be in this body, and I have the control to fix that, and I can find all the help in the world on YouTube and different things now. I don't know. But sometimes I wonder if we perpetuate a problem by that. And I'm not saying you should shame people, but we could also, like when your doctor says to you, you're a little obese, you kind of get a little like, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There isn't. Okay. Because honestly, every one of us, and I have said it here, when you do hard things, you start to feel better because you accomplished something. And you're like, damn, it sucked. And I went up and down, and I was going to quit, and I didn't, and here I am. And now you can push yourself further and push yourself further. And that's the real self-esteem, I believe, that everybody's searching for and trying to build, especially in kids.
I think that we have let feelings dictate facts in the last 10 years instead of letting facts dictate feelings. I mean, Weight Watchers, they don't even call it Weight Watchers anymore. Now it's WW. Why? Because we don't want to admit we're fat, even though we go there to lose weight. Right. I don't have a problem. Yeah. It's my body. And I think that shame, a little bit of shame, is like a vaccination, right? Think it goes they put a little bit of the flu in the flu shot. You know how they put a little bit of the disease in polio in the polio shot? It's to help you not get polio, to not get the flu. And I think a little bit like, man, this room's a mess. What are you, a freaking pig?
Yeah.
Your parents would tell you that. Why? Do you want to act like a pig? I think we need to be better salespeople to each other. And a doctor should be like, well, how long do you want to live? Do you want to live past 40? Yeah, I do. Well, then you got to lose some weight.
Right.
Oh, when you put it that way,
I know.
Yeah, then maybe I should.
But what I'm saying is, like, we shouldn't be a shithead to people.
No, there's a way to do it.
And we
That's why it's called sales.
And we should mind our own business. And when we see a fat person, and I have said for years that I can be in a grocery store and see a woman in yoga pants or what are they called now? Leggings, whatever they are. and you can see like the woman that really works out, takes care of her body, her ass, you could bounce a quarter out, whatever. That's not the ass I'm going to stare at.
Just a
I'm going
thigh
to
gap.
stare at the big
The two
fat
tubers.
ass where I can actually see the craters in your fat, right? And the moon, and I look at it and I picture all these things happening with this ass, and I picture the sounds that come out. That's what goes on. That's why I don't want people reading my thoughts.
It's a Chris Rock bit with the she's breaking bread in her shoes.
Yes, but I mean, I look at that and I can't stop staring at it. I go, that's amazing. And there are times where I'm like, and I love that the person, and I say this, I do think this in my head, if someone can read my thoughts, I go, man, that's some confidence that you can't teach, to be able to walk out in those clothes, because there's so many people are ashamed of being overweight or whatever. If you're happy with that's fine. And that's the big thing. But here's the story, Dan, that I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but a woman ordered a Lyft. She ordered Lyft to come and pick her up. Do you know this story?
I think I'm familiar with it.
And this is her when the driver told her she can't fit in his car. She started filming.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What? For what? What you saying?
Yeah, I got no space in my car is small.
I can fit in this car.
No, believe me, you can.
Yes, I can.
Believe me. So, I'm sorry.
What am I doing with my money?
I'm gonna cancel you. You're not gonna be charged.
So you telling me I can't get in the Lyft because I can't fit in your car?
Yeah, you need to order a bigger car.
What makes you think I can't fit in the car?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What makes you think I can't fit in this car?
Because the car is small in the back.
My best friend has.
Now, hang on a second. Okay, good. Pause. Listen to what the guy says, because she says my best friend has a car like this. Listen to what the Lyft driver says after this.
There's a Benz that's newer than this that I can fit in. That's the same size.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
So you really telling me I'm too big to get in your car, so I gotta order another Lyft?
Yeah. And to be more specific with you, I got very tired tires.
I got very tired tires. Is that what he said? I heard him say something about the tires when I loaded it into our machine.
When I go up the hill, it's got 5-ton limit.
I have not listened to anybody talk about this. I'm assuming everybody who has a microphone in front of them have talked about it. I have listened to no one.
I'm sure this was in the complete sheet.
What I got to do with your tires?
Yeah, and you have no space.
How you know I don't have no space?
Yeah, I got no space in the back.
How do you know I don't have no space?
Because I tried before.
Huh?
All right, so this woman is now suing Lyft for not giving her a ride. Apparently, she's 500 pounds. I would put a picture up, but I didn't get one fast enough. Her name is Dajua Blanding.
Okay.
Dajua Blanding. She lives in Detroit. She is a rapper, and her stage name is Dank Demos. Dank Demos. Demos. Demos, I guess.
Okay.
Demos.
Demos.
Dank Demos.
Dank Demos.
Dank Demos. Yeah. So she's suing. This happened on January 18th. She put the incident on Instagram and it went everywhere. The driver was in a Mercedes. He stated the driver operating Mercedes said he has experienced a similar situation. He also expressed concern about the car's tires being unable to support her weight. That was
what I would have done is I would immediately call Lyft operators and be like, hey, listen, we have a situation here. Can you call another Lyft for this? Because she's not going to fit my. Can you excuse me once? I had to make a phone call for Lyft, and that's how I would try to handle it.
Well, okay, so
that way you have documentation of this incident.
Here's the question. Okay, that I and I'm serious about this. If you weigh 500 pounds, do you have an obligation to say to, like, if you're ride share or if you're Uber eating and you're ordering a bunch of stuff and you go, listen, man, this is going to be a big order. I hope your car can handle. No, I'm saying, but do you have an obligation to say, hey, I'm a big person? Like, take away the weight. Let's take away the weight.
This happened to me once.
Let's say that the person is Jackson. He's 6'8". Jackson doesn't fit comfortably in certain cars. Should Jackson
He's the
say,
Shaq of the Morans.
so should Jackson say, hey, I'm 6'8", and I'm not skinny.
I'm 6'8". Can you send me
I'm
some
a
icy
big,
hot?
yeah, I'm a big guy.
in a van.
But I don't know. Like, because sometimes if we go for the cheaper Uber, it's going to be a smaller Uber. You can get, or I'm talking Uber. I don't know what Lyft does, but just my experience with Uber is you can get like Uber XL.
Yeah, they'll send you options depending on how big your party is. And most people, like if you have like 5 people in your party, a car's not going to work. You're going to need the van. It's going to cost you more, but you understand that going in. But when you're one person, you're the size of like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, let's see.
No, that'll be like that would be like 3 of me.
If she's 500 pounds, and let's say
4 of me.
What is the average woman? Let's say other women. What is it? What is an average? It would be 140 pounds.
140 pounds.
Okay, so average.
Yeah,
there's
average, ladies.
Below,
average
above and below. Would you say so? That's 1. Now we're at 280 for 2.
Yeah.
And then we add another. We're at 320.
Yeah,
that's 3. All right, never mind.
But you get there. The point is that.
But is this guy being a dick? Does he?
No. I mean, I've had to deal with people.
Do you say, you know what? Yeah, get in there and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, like he's not wrong. I mean, I've actually had to tell people. You have the right to tell people no. The worst that can happen is they give you a bad grade on Lyft. And then Lyft will then turn your app off. You call Lyft and they'll straighten it out and they'll turn your app back on. Okay. Because I had somebody once accuse me of drinking 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. What it was the woman who I picked up who's all dialed up at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. Well, what was she doing? She was out Thursday night partying.
Yeah.
And she reeked of booze and then accused me of this of it, which wasn't true.
She was so drunk she didn't even see.
She
thought you were drunk.
That I was drunk, right? There's another time where I picked up a gentleman. Oh, Billy, this is no joke. I was driving a Nissan Sentra at the time, and those aren't big vehicles. And I had to pick up a guy in an apartment complex in Greece. Where do you want to go? He just wanted to go around the corner and get beer at a corner store. He could have walked there. The problem was he was 500 pounds. He got in the passenger seat. He couldn't get the seatbelt on. The guy stunk. He couldn't fit the seatbelt on. So I'm driving him over to this corner store where a normal person could have just walked. It was about a 400-yard drive altogether. Okay, but he couldn't walk. He needed a golf cart is what he needed. He could probably fit in one of those. So he's struggling. I'm driving over there with a ding, 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 ding. And he can't fit the seatbelt around him. And I'm just trying to be a nice person. All he needs to go is to the corner store and get beer. So I just kindly plug my nose, roll down my windows. By the way, it's February. And drive him over. And you know what he told me? After he gets out, he gets his beer. It takes him about 10 minutes just to get like a 12-pack.
Yeah.
He comes back. You know what, man? You're really nice. Most people drive me, man. They don't give me the time of day, or they don't want to talk to me.
Right, because we treat you like shit because we forget that you have. So now we'll go back to your argument of, do we cater to feelings too much? How I
felt bad for the guy, but if somebody didn't feel bad and wanted to stick up for their car and their rights as a ride sharer and driver, they have absolutely the right to do that. I just didn't do that at the moment.
No. What I'm saying to you is, but when you go up against that enough in life, you get calluses, right? And you start to realize,
you start to feel bad for yourself.
But everybody hates me. You know what I mean? Everybody hates me. They all treat me like shit. I'm a faceless fat guy to these people. They have, they don't see me as a human being. They don't see me much like, I think, the nonverbal speaking kids who have been told by doctors, have told parents that they're not in there. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then they're finding out. But my point is, like, you treated that person as a person. That's it. I'm not saying that this guy, I don't know. I think that there are times where it is your car. And if you're afraid, if you know you got bad shocks or something,
you shouldn't be driving a Lyft. That's another thing.
Okay.
I mean, he was driving a Mercedes. Okay, there's a couple things that are odd with this. If you're driving a Mercedes, you don't need to ride Lyft.
No,
you don't need to drive Lyft.
First of all,
I can't judge you, but
time out. I see lots of guys with Teslas and things driving.
I've seen that too.
And Mercedes. We don't know what year this Mercedes is.
That's a fair point.
We don't know how many miles are on this Mercedes. I'm hearing.
Well, and I think the car's got to be at least within 10 years old.
If I'm playing this, okay. But if I'm listening to this, That sounds like a diesel engine to me.
What? For what? What you saying?
Okay.
And,
Yeah, I
and
got
Mercedes
most
did do
mixed
some
on my
diesel
car.
or something.
I can fit in this car.
Believe me, you can.
Okay.
Believe me, you can.
Well, it depends because
Now I'm reading an article that it's a Mercedes. It didn't look like a Mercedes in it when I saw the video.
is it a Mercedes SUV? Was it an SUV?
I don't think so.
Because I
Okay.
can't
It was
fit
a
in my
sedan.
car.
Okay.
Yeah, you need
So that's why I'm wondering, like,
I
is it?
I think he tried to handle it the best he could. I think he was shocked. Like one time I picked somebody up at a hotel in Webster, not realizing his name was Bobo. He had a really long name. It was short for Bobo something. He was from India. He was here on business with Xerox. He wanted to go see Niagara Falls. This is the Sunday morning of a Bills game against the Dolphins in Orchard Park. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to drive this dude to Niagara
When did you
Falls
know-
and drive him back? You don't know until the moment you accept the ride.
Oh,
You don't know. Yeah, Lyft and Uber will play tricks on you too. They'll make you the bad guy to deny the ride. Say, no, I can't. You have to take some. You have to find another ride. I can't do it. And then you get the downgrade. In other words, when you sign up to be a Lyft driver, man, you better drive everybody. That's why, like, you have a situation like Joel McHale got driven from the Rochester airport all the way to New York City. That person did not know until Joel McHale accepted the ride, got in the car, that they were going to New York City.
right,
And they could have turned around and said no,
right.
but then they would have gotten downgraded.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a trap.
Yeah.
So what I would have done in that situation, and now we've had like 30 minutes to think about it. I would have called Lyft and be like, hey, listen, can you send another car for this woman? I don't have the room for it. It's 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you have documentation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing in that situation. I personally probably would have just tried to suck it up and do the best. Maybe
Yes.
got a kick out of it.
Yes, me too.
All right,
It's a
hang
good
on,
story.
hang on for dear life, baby. Here we go.
It's a good story, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Watch out for that pothole.
We're gonna create a few in this.
Like remember,
car,
like remember the Flintstones where they put the
Yes,
rack on?
that's what I'm saying. Like the car
and the car
will
trips
lean.
over.
Don't tell me the car doesn't lean a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And this guy, now I'm surprised, but you'll have to call another one. All right, whatever. My question is, when you're that big, or if you're a super tall person, do you call ahead and go, listen, I'm one person. Can you send somebody with a more room, or can we tell the driver to put the passenger seat all the way up?
Yeah.
Because I have really long
I don't know
legs.
if you have those options to do that, but I think that would be wise. I think if you are
Well,
self-aware and honest with
They
yourself,
give you
I think you should be able to do that. This chick was clearly told from birth, you're fine, baby. You ain't got no problems. She sounds like someone who was entitled and was catered to her entire
well,
life.
she seems nice.
She could
Sounds
seem nice.
sweet.
Everybody's got moments.
And,
You and I know some
she's
awful
big.
people who have had some good moments. Hey,
Well,
we
anyway.
could always say so-and-so's in a good mood today, remember?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I really thought, I go, take all the fat jokes away. Let's take it to size,
Mhm.
just a bigger person, not even a heavy person,
Mhm.
just big. Like, outside the average. Jackson, should you then call the driver yourself, because you'll get their phone number,
Mhm.
and say, hey, I just want to let you know I'm 6'11",
Mhm.
and my legs are really long. Is there a possibility for me to either sit in the passenger seat and put that seat all the way back, or is there,
That would
or
be
should I call another Uber?
That's responsible.
Or hey, this is embarrassing. I'm 500 pounds. I just want to make sure
Mhm.
that whatever car you're in, because I know I just asked for the car, but it's only me.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have a responsibility to do
You
that.
do a little bit. I do too. I
think you have a
do. I
responsibility
think
to
like
do that.
I go. I get it. It's shitty.
I mean, I wish Lyft
It's a
and Uber
shitty
would actually
situation.
profile the actual. Well, then you're getting to freedom issues. But
Yes,
I mean,
you do. Look,
I would just hope that people would have a modicum of common sense and human decency to say, hey, look, even though I'm paying for this ride and the customer is always right, can I make it easier on the driver doing
Yeah.
the service for me?
well, don't you?
Isn't that just human decency?
Well, I just think like it
Make their
doesn't
life a
make
little easier?
It makes your life a little
Yeah,
easier, is what
right.
it does. I mean, let's be honest. Being a little selfish is
Mhm.
okay, because you want to. Do you want to run into that situation? How uncomfortable is that situation for this woman?
right.
And probably for
The
him,
driver, too.
because the driver's probably going, all right, shit. I am listening to the engine. Either there's something wrong with it, or I'm thinking that sounds like a diesel engine to me. But I gotta look up Mercedes, because I don't think they've done diesel engines since like the 80s.
Mhm.
But I don't
here's the
know.
thing,
I don't know.
When
I'm
you
not-
drive Lyft or Uber, at least the requirement was when I was driving,
you have to have 10-year, right?
the car's got to be relatively new. And by relatively, I mean like made in the last 5 to 10 years. and you have to have a clean driving record and all this other stuff. I mean, not like speeding tickets or parking tickets. That's okay. But
Oh no, you're at okay. So many Mercedes-Benz models have diesel engines, including the S-Class. But I'm just see that was in 1978. That's what I'm thinking.
they let okay.
That was in 1978.
That's surprising.
The C-Class C222. Okay, here we go. The GLC has a diesel option, and the 2023 model has a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Let's see. 2010, 2011. I think that was a V6 turbo engine that I think was diesel. So 10, yeah. See, okay, 2013. So you're still within that 10-year window.
And I don't know if they've changed the rules. When I was doing it,
doesn't
you had a car with
like
a.
to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
What?
Sounds like a truck. Yeah,
It does, right?
like a diesel truck.
Yeah, like a diesel engine, but it's not. If you see the car, and you can get a 2016 E-Class Mercedes, 86,000 miles, 15 grand. So you could probably drive that, and yeah. All right, okay.
But I think as a passenger, you have
I only remember I had a teacher that bought a Mercedes at auction, and the reason and one of the things he liked about it and was in there was a murder in the back seat.
Okay,
and so
I thought you got a real deal on it.
No, there was a murder in the backseat. They must have told this at the auction that he went to. And it was one of those, I think it had the removable hardtop, but it was a diesel.
My uncle got a deal on an Audi.
Yeah. This was
like
Mercedes, but there was a murder in the backseat and they reupholstered everything in the car. And
Dan, they found the guy dead. I got a sweet deal.
Anyway.
From Larry Spack.
And by the way, a diesel, I would think you'd be able to pull that with a 500-pound person with a diesel, no problem.
I just think he may have had an experience before.
All right.
Like, I know people who okay, if you go into the city, people have to bring their kids to daycare, to school, to other places, and you need to have a car seat.
Yeah.
And 4 out of 5 of them don't care. They just hold the kid, buckle the kid up. They don't bring the car seat. And you have to, it's up to you to tell them, no, you need a car seat. So you can either accept the ride, take your chances, hope you don't get pulled over, or be the bad guy, which is actually the good guy, and say, no, ma'am, or no, sir, you need a car seat.
What if you kept a car seat in your trunk?
You could do that too. The thing is, though, is that if you're picking somebody at the airport,
But you don't know what size the kid is.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Like, I mean,
if the kid's 7, they still technically in New York State.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
They need a booster seat.
Yeah, which is so stupid.
Yeah. Well,
thanks, Democrats.
I used to sit in the front seat as a kid, right? You sat in the front seat. The kids can't. And I get it, especially with an airbag.
Yeah, me
now.
too.
The airbag goes off.
Oh yeah,
kid
gets crushed.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, I get it.
That I understand.
But some of this stuff is just crazy.
Oh yeah, just hey, let's
think,
screw the American
I'll
public.
tell you this. I even think a seatbelt. Your choice.
I think yeah.
You know, I
freedom.
mean,
It's America. Your choice.
It's a privilege to drive. I get it. But I think if I don't wear a seatbelt and I get into an accident, I don't think the fact that I don't have a seatbelt on hurts the other person or not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it may prevent me from getting injured, even with airbags and things, but I don't care. If you don't want to wear it, don't.
My father never wore a seatbelt.
Yeah, I could
never.
see. Yeah, I just
because we didn't grow up with them. He said we didn't grow up with seatbelts.
Right.
Because in fact, when we grew up and we had kids, we would hold on to the kid in the no seatbelt. Mom's got the kid in the front seat, just holding on for dear life.
Yeah,
and it was no big deal.
So they
didn't even have dog food back then. They just feed the dog whatever they had left.
You don't want to. You don't want to.
Now we specialize in everything, and we make laws to make you do it.
Well, look, they save lives. I would say you're better off wearing a seatbelt, right? And I will not get into any vehicle and not put the seatbelt on. I just
I'm glad they have car seat laws for kids, because like there's some of these parents, man, their kids are flying out of the window.
But I think you get over 18 and you don't want to wear a seatbelt. That's your
business.
It's your rule, man.
I also don't think you need a car seat for a 7-year-old. I think that's ridiculous too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've seen guys get in race cars and not put the harness all the way on. Like they just strap it, and so it's a harness seat, so it straps up, tighten it.
Racer Randy, no helmet for me, buddy. I'm old school.
Your crotch and all that stuff. All right, we'll take a moment. Big trade in the NBA, Danny.
Yeah,
this one was shocking, and I didn't.
You want to talk about stealing headlines from the NFL?
I didn't think it was real.
Yeah, I didn't.
Because my kid's telling me about it. I go, that's not true. That can't be true.
Wrong.
We will get to that right after this.
I use crap.